What is going on, everybody? Kmess here for the Birds vs. Boys Week 3 Dallas Cowboys reaction show with myself, Kmess. If it's your first time here on the YouTube channel, we appreciate you watching and listening. Make sure you subscribe as soon as you can. As soon as you're done watching this video, smash that subscribe button and make sure you follow us everywhere we are on social media, Birds vs. Boys Pod, as well as anywhere you listen to full podcasts and episodes. We are there. I am here to talk about the Week 3 loss at home, 28-25 to the Baltimore Ravens. And that score is really not indicative of the entire game. We'll start in the fourth quarter. Yes, the Cowboys came absolutely roaring back in the fourth quarter, making it a 3-point game. They had an opportunity to hit a couple of 2-point conversions. There was a time where it could have been an 8-point game instead of a 10-point game. They could have scored the touchdown at the end with Turpin gone for 2, tied the ball game. Instead, when they scored the touchdown, didn't get the 2-point conversion. Very confusing on the route that was run short of the goal line where Dak threw it. But then ultimately it ended up being a 10-point spread. Cowboys scored the touchdown and then proceeded to never get the ball back again. The defense turned back into a pumpkin, could not stop the run, looking like not a Mike Zimmer defense, but a Mike Nolan defense, and they were not able to stop the run, not able to get the ball back, and the Ravens ultimately iced the game, winning 28-25. The problem in this game is not the fourth quarter. It's not the comeback. It's not all of Dak's, I'm going to say, empty stats. People are going to say, whoa, he threw for 379 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks. Okay. He also threw the ball 51 times and only completed 28 of them. And a lot of them because they can't run the ball, right? This week, Jerry Jones was asked about, are they going to look at bringing Dalvin Cook up from the practice squad? Are they going to look to bring another runner in? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. We love our running backs. We love our depth. We just can't allow them to run. We didn't have a chance to let them run. And he may say the same damn thing this week because the defense didn't stop a nosebleed in the first half. So again, they didn't have the ability to really run. They only had 16 carries on the game, but all of them pretty horrendous, right? Rico Dowdle, 8 carries for 32 yards. Dak had 2 rushes for 7. Ezekiel Elliott, 3 rushes for 6 yards, right on that 2.0 average that we kind of known him for recently. And then Deuce Vaughn, 2 for 5, and Kavontae Turpin, 1 for 1. Horrendous, absolutely abysmal ass running. The team, even in the beginning of the game, couldn't run the ball. They can't establish anything on the ground. Now, yes, you have 2 rookies on the offensive line, one at center, one at left tackle. Terrence Steele looked not Pro Bowl-esque Terrence Steele. He looked more like last year Terrence Steele. There was times in this game where people were yelling for him to get benched. Zach Martin is aging and looks human. So I understand all that, but when you don't have the best line in the league right now, you need a good running back to kind of do some work. And you see what some of these rookie running backs, I'm going to point especially the finger at Braylon Allen with the Jets, what he is doing. He won Rookie of the Week offensive last week for the AFC. The Cowboys completely ignored running back in the draft. We know this. They didn't address it in free agency at all, except for Ezekiel Elliott. And it was more of we like our guys, and we're going to do it by committee. Yes, they just signed Dalvin Cook, but we haven't seen what he can do. But I think we know what he is already. He's just another laundry list of washed running backs like Ezekiel Elliott, who are going to contribute 2 yards a carry for this team. So can't establish anything on the ground. The offense, in terms of throwing the ball, I mean, where is CeeDee Lamb? 4 catches, 67 yards. He had 7 targets in this game. He's shown up small so far this season. Yes, he had the 1 long touchdown last week in the loss to the Saints that kind of could have swayed the momentum if the defense could have gotten a stop. They couldn't get one on the first 6 drives against the Saints, and it felt like in the first half they couldn't get a stop on the first every single drive for the Ravens today at AT&T Stadium. So it looks a little off with CD and Dak. Marlon Humphreys was in the back pocket basically all day, blanketed on CeeDee Lamb. Couldn't get separation when he had opportunities. Yes, he had one nice catch down the sideline, but when there was opportunities, they weren't making it. Obviously, Dak loved having Jake Ferguson back, 6 catches for 95 yards on the game. But there were opportunities for Fergie too. He had 11 targets and only 6 receptions. It's just the offense just isn't clicking, right? And it was the second week in a row where, and I will get to the defense. It's the second week in a row where we all could see, whether you were in the stadium watching on an 80-inch plasma screen, or if you were watching simply on your phone, we could all see that the defense was not getting stops and that the offense was going to have to go out there and match score for score if they wanted to be in this game or have a chance to win. And again, the offense couldn't do it. We've already established they can't run the ball. Too many 3-and-outs, too many penalties, too many mistakes, too many sacks, too many just little things that they're not executing on. Sometimes you're scratching your head on the play calling, and we're like, Mike, what is this? Why the Cavante Turpin show? We're running Deuce Vaughn up the middle and Ezekiel Elliott outside. Like, why? Why are we doing the things that you are doing with this offense? I mean, Turpin obviously had a touchdown. Tolbert as well, 3 catches for 42 on 5 targets. It's just not in sync right now. This high potent offense, $60 million a year quarterback, $35 million receiver, $100 million guaranteed. They're coming up lame. They're coming up short when the team needs them the most because the defense is failing right now. So things on both sides of the ball need to get fixed. The only thing it seems that doesn't need to get fixed right now is Brandon Aubrey. Again, just an absolute weapon. 65-yard field goal looked like it would have been good from 70. He is an absolute weapon. And I said it last week. I think Mike McCarthy has a long field goal fetish, right? People have foot fetishes and other strange fetishes. He loves long field goals and has a fetish for it. But hey, I love having Brandon Aubrey on this team. And if we didn't have Brandon Aubrey on this team, the 2 scores these last 2 weeks would have looked even worse. And that was the only way that they were putting up points at first. I don't want to talk about the defense. Can we talk about anything else? I wish I could talk about the Eagles losing because their quarterback threw an interception in the end zone, lost a fumble. They missed a field goal. They had a punt blocked. They didn't convert on 2 fourth-down conversions, but yet they still found a way to win on the road in a hostile environment against a team that smoked you last week. But I can't even talk about that because they got the win. And a win is a win is a win is a win. And you saw the talent that they have on that defensive front. Speaking of defensive fronts, lack of talent for the Cowboys. Eric Kendricks leads the team with total tackles with 12. Carson behind him at 7. It just Overshone only had 3 solo tackles in this game. The stat lines for the Ravens offense was just unbelievable. In the beginning of the game, it looked like Lamar Jackson would never have to throw the ball. And he only did 15 times, completing 12 of them for 182 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, a passer rating of 139.4. He did everything he had to do. What did I say in our preview this week on Birds vs. Boys? I said, you have to force Lamar to throw the ball excessively because there is a chance that he will turn it over to you. Well, that didn't happen. He only had to throw the ball 15 times. Again, completed 12 of them with a touchdown, no picks. And that was because the ground game was unbelievable. It 45 rushes in this game for 274 yards and 3 touchdowns, 6.1 yards an attempt. That's blasphemy, right? Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry? Wasn't he a free agent this year? Oh, yeah, I think he was. Did he say the Cowboys didn't even call when everyone was linking Derrick Henry to the Cowboys? Yeah. Now he shows up at AT&T Stadium wearing a blue suit and a cowboy hat, and he ran it down your throat 25 times for 151 yards and 2 touchdowns and made it look easy. There were times watching this game where Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson or Justice Hill were running down the field, and there wasn't a defender around. Lamar added 14 rushes for 87 yards and a touchdown. And there was a play that was a broken play. And Lamar was just like in the backfield. Wasn't the play he thought it was, but he was able to run for 6 yards and pick up the first down. And he got up saying, "That was my bad," laughing. But he converted on your defense. I I don't know where we go from this. We saw missed tackles, especially on the Nelson Aguilar one catch for 56 yards when the rookie Carson took a bad angle, tried to tackle him with his arms way too upright. Just Carson's looked lost at times the last 2 weeks. Has not looked anything like he looked in week one. But hey, the whole defense hasn't looked anything like they looked in week one. Micah Parsons didn't look good again. He bit hard on some of the run pass options on the inside, guessing wrong. The defensive tackles, again, just getting pushed around in this game against an offensive line with big question marks. Young on the inside. The guards have question marks, but you weren't able to take advantage of it at all. The Baltimore Ravens came into the house of the Dallas Cowboys. Tons of Ravens fans there, of course. They punched the Cowboys in the face from the moment the game started, and they didn't look back. And they just kept pummeling and pummeling and pummeling until the Cowboys did fight back finally. And that's the one positive of this game. There was fight to the end from the Cowboys. Usually we see this team get punched in the mouth, and we know they're going to lose, and they just get completely knocked out in a street fight like they did last week against the Saints. But at least they fought back this week. We did see fight at the end. We did see stops from the defense. We did see movement of the ball and scoring by the offense, but it was a little too late, right? Too little, too late. When it mattered most in the beginning of the game, in the middle of the game, they all showed up small. They look lost. Mike Zimmer looks like Mike Nolan. I, I tweeted this out. This team does not just really upsets me. This team is not worth me taking time away from my family to watch. And that really upsets me. Not that I want to take time away from my family, but I've enjoyed the Dallas Cowboys since I was a little kid. All these numbers, if you're watching on YouTube behind me, 92, 93, 95, I witnessed all of those. I remember them. This team's not sniffing that. I tweeted out in the summer, 8 wins, maybe 9. I got obliterated by the fan base. We're like, how could you do? This team's looking like they're going to be lucky if they sniff 8 wins, right? Yes, they're going to play the Giants on Thursday night. They should win that game. But the Giants are coming off a good win against Cleveland on the road. Malik Neighbors is the real deal. So that may be a little bit more of a test than it should be. Steelers on the road should be a winnable game, but we don't know. But then Lions, Niners, Falcons, Eagles, Texans. Come on. That's a gauntlet. And this team right now, looking the way they look heading into a gauntlet like that, the teams know the blueprint. Run left, run up the middle, control the clock. pressure Dak. I don't know. This game went the way I expected it to, but they just got punched in the face for the third straight game at home. I don't want to hear any more about this 8-0 last year. There's no home field advantage at AT&T right now. It's packed with Saints fans, packed with Ravens fans. It was packed with Packers fans in the playoff game. They got smoked at home against the Packers. They got smoked at home against the Saints. And it happened again today against the Ravens. And that score, again, way closer than the actual bulk of the game was, right? It was 28 to -4, it felt like, for a long time until they fought back. So they are who I expected them to be at this point in the season. I thought they were going to struggle with Cleveland too. But I think now more than anything, that's kind of maybe a testament of who Deshaun Watson and the Browns are more than who the Cowboys are right now, because this looks like a broken football team. This looks like a beaten up football team, team that does not have a defense that looks like it has a plan to stop the run or get off the field when they need big stops, or an offense that can score at will when they need, or even be able to just do the fundamentals of, I don't know, running the football. That's all I got tonight. It's 8:22 on the East Coast. I'm tired. Had to deal with that game. Had to deal with a 3-month-old and a toddler all day. And the Cowboys just add stress. But guess what? Thursday night, MetLife Stadium. Where am I going to be? I'm going to be in front of my TV, locked and loaded, watching the Cowboys, because that is what we do. But before that game, make sure you tune into the entire episode of me and Aiden. We will be talking about the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the entire NFL. We will do our power rankings. That will drop early this week on the Birds vs. Boys YouTube channel, everywhere you listen to podcasts, as well as on our social media, Birds vs. Boys. You can follow me on Twitter at Kmess22. Thank you for sulking with me. Thank you for trying to digest this a little bit more. I'm not mad. I'm not upset, because this is what I expected this Dallas Cowboys team to be. I'm just exhausted. We're 3 weeks into the season and I'm exhausted. So I better go fire up the Nespresso machine and have a couple espressos before Thursday night. Thank you for watching. 1-2, heading into the Giants. Can they even up to 2-2, heading into somewhat of a gauntlet, heading to Pittsburgh, who is very beatable after the Giants? Cowboys lose 28-25 for the third straight time at home.